how do you get interested in Indian fashion, Indian textiles, the design related to Indian culture? What inspired?
When I was a young man, just out of design school, I got a job with the Indian government, working in India, traveling all around the country, working with handcrafted textiles. And I fell in love with this ancient civilization, with the cultural diversity, with the handicrafts. And as a designer and an artist, of course, I just love it. And it's a privilege for me to live in India now and to work here.
How do you think events like IFS help in developing the fashion industry or textile industry all over the world?
Yes, it's remarkable because I'm always, one of the things I love about India is, I always say, it's like going back in time. I love the romance of it, but if we really could go back in time, there are a lot of things that we wouldn't like, or things that we would like to change, living standards, the modern amenities of life. And in India, it is, India needs a lot. It's a very big population, young population. There's a need for education, a need for development. So regarding design and the fashion industry, it's completely different than where I come from in America, in New York, where you have chains of stores and a very developed market. So these types of events, the India Fashion Summit, are essential for this process of development. And it's wonderful that the school and the Design Institute can be involved, because that's what is needed. It's education, development, and economic development, which will create the distribution opportunities, the supply opportunities, and of course we're talking about sustainable fashion and how we can work with hand-woven fabrics to address modern design and modern fashion.
And how do you feel that there is a necessity for having something such as the Indian Fashion Incubator?
And for all the same reasons, it's essential. There's such a need for education, as I said, and development. So the Fashion Incubator can help this. One thing I know for a fact is that India is filled with a large young population of very talented people. There's a lot of creativity, a lot of intelligence, and this potential needs to be helped and directed and mentored, and that's what the Fashion Incubator can do.
And I'm pretty sure that there has been a vast difference in the way people used to live many years ago to the way people live now. So how has that affected your designs and textiles?
Well, my business is divided, you can say, into domestic sales and exports. And for exports, it hasn't changed because the way people live has not changed that much. Although technology is disrupting everything, there are those changes. But in terms of lifestyle, the biggest changes are occurring within India itself. And that's giving rise to consumerism, aspirations, and while I like to think that the Indian population will not adopt a lot of the bad attributes of my country with its waste and its excess, the business is changing in India with this development, with aspirations, with increased economic activity.
What do you think is one particular factor that you would definitely want to improve in the Indian textile industry?
That's a tricky question because the more things change, we also lose certain things, especially in the craft sector. One thing I would like to see changed is the vulnerability of the crafts people themselves. It's a cottage industry. Many of them are independent and vulnerable. And we need somehow organizations, larger financial support for the craftspeople. It's what I strive for every day with my work, to be successful, to work with craft in a stronger way. And I'd like to see the international companies and brands who are working in India to invest more, to take more responsibility, because in the world of big business and big investment, the people who are producing are part of the umbrella of those organizations and feel some security. And I would like to see the craft sector move more in that direction. It's a tricky subject and it's a hard one because it is a cottage industry. But if I could magically change one thing, that would be it. Yes, that's it.
So you've been to Kochi before?
Yes, many years ago, about 30 years ago.
So what differences do you find in Kochi now than before?
Well, of course, now it's a big modern city with a metro, and when I came earlier, it was before globalization and was much more provincial.
Okay, so what's the best thing that you like about Kochi so far?
Well, yes, I love, of course, the food. I love the nature, and I love the sea.
What is special about Kochi which you do not have in your place?
The food, the spices, the abundance of the natural world that we don't have in North India, and that I certainly don't have in New York City.
I hope you come to Ernakulam or at least India or Kerala every year.
I live in Delhi.
You live in
so
Delhi.
It's a question of me coming
to
south.
Kerala. Yes. Let's hope to see you very soon,
Yes,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.